Hello everybody out there watching on YouTube, and welcome to the 10th race of Season 4 of the NNSCRA Marble Studios Cup Series. I'm Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marble Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Aaron's 499 at Talladega Superspeedway as we are getting set for 29 laps of racing here at one of the best restrictor play racetracks to go to in the entire country. Now, before we take a look at the starting lineup, as usual, we gotta take a look at the point standings as they look coming into the race today. So, after last week's race at Texas, the points got quite shaken up in the top 10. Joshua Sekuli, however, still is your points leader by 8 points over Trent Dunham. Third is now Charles Sanford. Fourth, James McLeod. Fifth, Dylan Thoreau. Sixth, James Qualls. Seventh, Dylan Young. 8th, Jay Jefferson. 9th, Sean Galligan. 10th, Carson Gum. 11th, William Brock. And then 12th, tied for 12th, is Chris Dollarton and Jessica Shelton. Currently, the two wildcard drivers are Zach Flickinger and Joshua Collard still. Zach Flickinger is on quite a roll. He's won 2 in a row, and he's starting second in the race today. So we're going to be interested to see what's going to happen with some of these drivers here today. But let's take a look at the starting lineup. Starting in the last row is Anthony McCrory and Johnny Gardner. Top 10, Richard Johnson is on the pole for today. Starting next to him is the 2 race in a row winner, Zach Flickinger. Row 2 is Ashland Boyd. I'm thinking of Aaron Boyd from earlier today, with Zachary Fitzwater. Row 3, Rafael LeDuc, Preston Plord. Row 4, Dorian Face Puncher Kyle Matthews. And then row 5, Dylan Young and Emmanuel Hartnett. So with that said, let's get the command to fire engines for the Aaron's 499 at Talladega.
Drivers, start your engines!
All 42 cars on track for their one pace lap. Now, if the Domino's NXT race is anything to go by for this race here today, is that depending on the certain runs some of the drivers will get, we could see some separate packs trying to work together to try and make up some sort of strategy. And during that Domino's NXT race, we had only a 6-car accident, but you gotta wonder, with the faster speeds and the different cars, you gotta wonder what will happen if wrecks occur here today. For these cup cars, that is. But a lot of drivers are definitely looking to try and make a good impression to try and get themselves to move forward into making the chase this season. But also keep in mind, just as a quick little reminder to some people, so basically for next season in all 3 series, we're going to have different points structures, different rules, and different fields as far as the amount of drivers. Marble Studios Cup Series field's going to go down from 60 to 40, and it's only going to be 40 drivers in a race. Domino's NXT Series will still be at 30, but the Amazon Prime Truck Series will grow to 30 drivers there. Schedules are going to be a little bit bigger in the 2 other series, but for Cup it will still be 36, plus the Chase. We'll talk more about this in a different race, but here we go. It's time to boogity 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 go racing. Well, it was Dorian Facepuncher who led the first lap of the day, as he's got his teammate Dylan Young right behind him, as they're both out of Young Motorsports working together for the time being. And then I see two Gibbs cars working together. Although I think I just saw, oh my goodness, a massive crash. This is the huge one at Talladega. That's about half the field in a car flipping wildly. That's Anthony McCrory. Holy cow. The huge one is struck here at Talladega. Rafael Leduc, who was starting up in 5th. There you see Dylan Jacobs. Big time damage for Dougie Shears. Some damage to Dylan Poteet. Joshua Collard, engines completely destroyed. Zachary Fitzwater was in it. Seth Cole. There's Carson Gum. There's the 2-race winner in a row, Zach Flickinger. He was in it. Jay Jefferson was caught up in it. That was about pretty much all of the Furniture Row cars, except for one being Matt Haas. Although there's other cars. Johnny Gardner's got big damage. And there still might be others. I see a little bit of damage on Jessica Shelton's car. But yeah, that was about half the field that just got caught up in that mess. And Jake Baskinger somehow was able to take the lead from that. But we're going to stay on here for just a moment just to see if they're all going to come into pit road. And it's looking like they are coming into pit road. Baskinger leading them all down here. So we're going to see who's going to come out as the leader. As we go to pit lane 1 to get a good angle as to who's going to come out ahead. But man, that was massive. I don't think we've had a wreck this big all season so far. And on lap 2, the big one, or should I say the huge one, has struck here at Talladega. As we are still awaiting for cars to get on out of pit road. And it looks like Matt McIntyre is going to come out ahead. So it's going to be Matt McIntyre, race leader, then Dorian Facepuncher, Jake Baskinger, William Duncan, Dylan Young are top 5. But we're going to go ahead and take you to the replay of what brought the caution out for the first time today here at Talladega. So here's a look at what happened, and it's 4 wide going wrong as far as leaning. And it looked like Joshua Collard just leaned up against Trent Dunham, who in turn was up into Richard Johnson. And this is where all the wrecking occurs, and right there some side-to-side contact between Rafael Leduc and Sky Commons gets them both up in the air, and Leduc was on top of 2 cars during that mess. And then look at Commons get hit really hard by Dylan Jacobs. Seth Cole then gets hit hard. Dylan Thoreau, I forgot, was in there. Charles Sanford got involved. But let's try and look for McCrory, see how does McCrory get flipped over. Looks like, oh, it was the hit from the rear end from Carson Gum and then ricocheted up into, I believe that was Zachary Fitzwater he ricocheted off of right there, and it sent him flipping over, and Fitzwater got up on 2 wheels, almost turned over. Luckily he was on the banking to get him back on the wheels, but man, oh man, that was brutal. Massive crash, taking out probably about half the field in this race. Kind of curious to see about how Jay Jefferson got involved, especially because he got stuck right there on the part of the racetrack and the apron. But it didn't look like he got big time damage. We're going to go to helicopter view to really get our eyes up. Just a little bit of contact from Joshua Collard and then a little bit from Shane Lake, and he just went for a spin for a slide. But I think when he stopped, he just got stuck and couldn't drive away, and he had to be teleported to pit road. So I don't know, but I do think there is a chance he might be done for today. I don't know, he could very well be. But you never know what can happen with some people in this race. But we're going to go ahead and take you to the restart here at Talladega. Well, after that huge one came out, we got a lot of cars out of the race. We're down to 26 cars on track. 14 are done for today. Or perhaps more than that. And the guys that are out include Johnny Gardner, Trent Dunham, Dylan Jacobs, Dylan Poteet, Zachary Fitzwater, Rafael LeDuc, Sky Commons, Zach Flickinger, Joshua Collard, Seth Cole, Shane Lake, Dougie Shears, Carson Gum, Charles Sanford, Anthony McCurry, and Jay Jefferson. So, yeah, we are down to 26 cars on track as a result of the huge one here at Talladega. But pit stops occurred during the caution, and we got a new race leader, Matt McIntyre, in the 32. Second is Dorian Facepuncher. Third is Jake Baskinger. Fourth is William Duncan. Fifth, Dylan Young. Sixth, James McLeod. Seventh, James Qualls. Eighth, Matt Haas. Ninth, Preston Plord. 10th, Scott Roush. 11th is Kyle Matthews. 12th, Phil Parker. 13th, Emmanuel Hartnett. 14th is Chris Dollarton. 15th, Ashwin Boyd. 16th, Pichu London. 17th, William Brock. 18th, Tim Fiegel. 19th, Joshua Sekuli. 20th, Jessica Shelton. 21st, Richard Johnson. 22nd, Paul Minnick. 23rd, Alex Ferranti. 24th, DJ Curtis. 25th, Dylan Thoreau. And 26th is Sean Gallagher. Pace car pulls in the pit road, and we are gonna get back underway with 23 laps to go. Still a long way to go here at Talladega for anybody realistically in the top 20 to have any sort of hope of winning this race. Matt McIntyre able to stay on the bottom to keep the lead for himself. But now a new second-place driver, Jake Baskinger, as Dorian Facepuncher tried to use the outside to go on by Matt McIntyre, but it just did not really work. And now Baskinger going to try to utilize the bottom to go past Matt McIntyre for the lead. As meanwhile, Dylan Young, with help from good buddy James Qualls, they're working together to try and make some stuff happen. Matt Haas, the last remaining Furniture Row racing car in the field, he's trying to make a feel-good moment for that team by getting them a win here today, as he now goes to second. And Matt Haas actually has been trying to get a rebound going, because he comes into this race in the danger zone, 30th spot in the point standings. Because if he ends up outside the top 30, he's going to have to try and qualify his way in to next week's race, which will be at, I want to say Kansas, which I can't wait for. But we got a new leader, Scott Roush, in just his second start this season. He is now up here in the race lead here at Talladega. Now he's going to try and shut the door on Chris Dollarton, who's right now in the lead, right now in second, I should say, with help from Pichu London, who in turn's getting help from Matt McIntyre, and so on and so forth, vice versa. But now Chris Dollarton has the race lead for himself, as this pack, this is kind of looking a little bit like the Domino's NXT race. You got two separate packs. You got Paul Minnick leading one, and then the tail end of this big pack is William Brock, with William Duncan right in front of him. So this is about a 16-car pack up here at the front, and then the rest of the field kind of single file or strung out. Sean Galligan's stuck by himself. Jessica Shelton stuck by herself with that little bit of damage she sustained during the huge one. Ashwin Boyd, I can tell, has got a buckle. So too does Richard Johnson. But yeah, I think 5 of these guys, Fiegel, Curtis, Minnick, Ferranti, and Sekuli, and Thoreau, all just got kind of held up by those guys who are damaged. Oh, but there's a double car accident. Oh man, they're coming back down. Oh, hard hit for William Duncan, and he's upside down. Oh man, he's going to come back. Oh, wild barrel roll for Paul Minnick, and now a wild barrel roll for William Duncan, and then a quick barrel roll for Richard Johnson. Wow, 3 cars went for a wild ride in that wreck. Caution out once again. My God, that looked horrific. Once I saw Duncan come back sliding down the racetrack, I knew something was going to happen, but good Lord, he took a vicious hit. But somehow, someway, Chris Dollerton maintains the race lead. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at the replay of what brought the caution out for the second time today here at Talladega. Well, about the same kind of wreck happened. Yeah, it was Matt Haas who kind of leaned up against Phil Parker into Jake Baskinger, and then right there, Baskinger slides down and collects William Duncan. So Cooley, or actually no, Haas and Parker managed to get through unscathed, but then you see Duncan and Baskinger slide up the racetrack spinning. Duncan hits the outside wall with the rear of his car, but watch as he comes back down the racetrack, and watch this. Brutal hits, and that hit from DJ Curtis is what sent him upside down sliding, but watch Phil Parker. I saw him go for probably the wildest ride all season. Watch as he comes back down the racetrack, and then he's going to get slammed driver's side first by Richard Johnson. And look at the air he got, and look at the amount of flips he's going for. And then Duncan further down's flipping himself. Man, look at how high that car got. And then there you see Richard, he starts to flip for himself. Good Lord. It has been a long, long time since we've had a wreck where there were more than one cars that went flipping. It has been a long time since we've had that kind of thing happen. But let's go back to Duncan when he gets hit first by Minnick and then by DJ, and he just slides up the racetrack on his roof and continues to spin, pirouetting on the roof of his car until he comes back down the racetrack down to the banking, and then that's where he's going to go for the wild ride. Right there you see Minnick flip, but let's count Duncan's flips first. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, perhaps about 4.5 times he's going to go flipping, so he took a wild ride. But then let's look at when Richard Johnson goes for the flip. It's going to be as a result from contact from Jake Baskinger right around there, right in the right rear, and then let's count his flips. He goes over 1. Just 1 barrel roll right there for Richard. So he took the tame ride. But then we're going to look at the even crazier ride for Paul Minnick as he slid down and got hit in the driver's side by, I believe it was Richard Johnson. But yeah, there you see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So pretty much about 8 times he went for a wild ride. I don't think I'd seen, like I said, it's been a long time since we've had a wreck occur where there were more than one car that barrel rolled or flipped. That is insanity. So now we're going to be down to pretty much less than half the field now as a result. But we're going to go ahead and take you to the restart here at Talladega. Well, after that second multi-car crash, we got 7 more cars that are joining the rest of the field as being out of the race. And they include Jake Baskinger, William Duncan, Paul Minnick, Joshua Sekuli, Tim Fiegel, DJ Curtis, and Richard Johnson. So we're going to be down to 19 cars left on track. But man, this race has just been chaotic, but we've seen good racing so far. It's just a couple of guys leaning too hard, went 4 wide, so we're going to have to look into trying to fix that for the future. But anyways, Pichu London is your race leader. Second is Dorian Facepuncher. Third is James McLeod. Fourth, Phil Parker. Fifth, Alex Ferranti. Sixth, Ashland Boyd. Seventh, Sean Galligan. Eighth, Preston Plord. Ninth, James Qualls. 10th, Kyle Matthews. 11th, Matt McIntyre. 12th is Chris Dollarton. 13th, Emmanuel Hartnett. 14th, Dylan Young. 15th, William Brock. 16th, Matt Haas. 17th, Scott Roush. 18th, Dylan Thoreau. 19th is Jessica Shelton. Down to less than half the field left on track, 19 cars. So we're going to see how this race is going to turn out with a very small field now as a result of everything that has taken place. But Pichu London looking for his first win this season. And he's the highest driver in the point standings, 20th without a top 10 finish so far this season. But we're back underway here at Talladega. Now we're going to see if who can get up to who to try and make moves. And already, battle on for fourth, Alex Ferranti with the run underneath Phil Parker. Meanwhile, Phil Parker falls back to fifth, and then a battle going on for the sixth position as Preston Plord's going by Ashland Boyd as James Qualls is helping Preston Plord out a little bit. Oh, nearly contact. Phil Parker thought about putting the block on Preston Plord, but noticed he was there and decided against it, which was very smart on his part to keep from another wreck happening. Oh, but more cars coming in the pit road. I thought they had pitted, but I guess they didn't get enough gas in, so that's going to really shake up the field. 6 cars came in the pit road as a result. Meanwhile, 3 wide for the lead. Oh, but Phil Parker gets turned. Back down the racetrack he goes, but luckily it was only just him. But we are under caution once again. That was actually a good, timely caution for those guys coming into pit road, so they might get to still stay on the lead lap, possibly, if they can get out of pit road in time. And it looks like they probably will. So that was good on their part that the caution came out. But Matt McIntyre has the race lead, and they're racing back, but James Qualls may be trying to go for the lead for himself, is trying to go to the bottom so he can get that bonus point. I don't know if he's going to get him in time at the line. I don't know, he might. Let's see. Didn't quite make it. Matt McIntyre still the race leader. But yeah, all those cars that came into pit road safe on the lead lap somehow, some way. So that was very, very good on their parts. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the replay of what brought the caution out for the 3rd time today here at Talladega. Well, here's a look at what happened. So it looks like Phil Parker tried to get onto the bottom, but didn't realize that William Brock had such a huge run and just gets down in front of the 66, which turns the 09 around. But luckily, all those guys did an excellent job of avoiding this, and luckily we got away with just a solo car spin. Otherwise, we would have probably had only 10 cars left in the field. So luckily, the 09 still managed to spin down to the bottom without getting hit. And when I looked back, he was on pit road getting tires changed. So it looks like he's going to try and continue to gain valuable points. But we're going to go ahead and take you to the restart here at Talladega. Nobody retired after that last caution. 19 cars still on track. But it did seem like all the leaders did come down the pit road, or maybe not. We could have another instance like what happened when Pichu London and company came down pit road. But Matt McIntyre is still your race leader. 2nd, Preston Plord. 3rd, William Brock. 4th, Kyle Matthews. 5th, James Qualls. 6th, Matt Haas. 7th, Emmanuel Hartnett. 8th, Chris Dollarton. 9th, Dylan Young. 10th, Dylan Thoreau. 11th, Scott Roush. 12th, Jessica Shelton. 13th, Pichu London. 14th, Dorian Facepuncher. 15th is Alex Ferranti. 16th, James McLeod. 17th, Ashland Boyd. 18th, Sean Galligan. And then 19th, Phil Parker. Pace car into pit road. 9 laps to go here at Talladega. And Matt McIntyre trying to look for his first win this season, the defending series champion, trying to go for his first win this season. Kyle Matthews trying to use the outside, but nobody went with him, so he's going to get left hanging and he's going to start to fall back again. And 3 wide for third. James Qualls makes it 3 wide with William Brock stuck in the middle. Looking around to see if those guys who pitted before the caution came out. Oh, and here comes most of the leaders. They couldn't make it on gas, so now that Matt McIntyre still has the lead, but you got to wonder if he and Kyle Matthews are going to be able to stay out the rest of the way, or if they have to come into pit road. But this might put guys like Dorian Facepuncher in the catbird seat, so to speak, because they pitted right before that last caution came out and was able to stay on the lead lap. So that strategy might work out for them if we stay green the rest of the way and they don't have to pit again. But you never know what's going to happen with this. You just never know. Talladega is very tricky. But Kyle Matthews took the little race lead over from Matt McIntyre, and I thought I heard a car spin. But I guess I'm just hearing stuff. But no, nobody up here at the front's coming in, so we'll see if they're going to be able to stay out and keep it together. But Kyle Matthews has the race lead, and he's trying to go for his first win in a long time. It's been since, I want to say, either Season 1 or Season 2 since he's won a race. He's looking to get his first win in that number 42 Haviland car, which is his favorite scheme to run in this series now. But now they're going to have to put up with lap traffic. Luckily, though, they're not damaged. And it looks like they're about 10 miles per hour slower, but it looks like they'll be able to blend in with the pack very well. So they're going to still be racy, but they're not going to be the leaders. Right now, it's Kyle Matthews with that spot. But Kyle Matthews has got quite a few cars to work around to try and get by, so he can keep the lead for himself up ahead. But also, like I said, you gotta wonder if those guys on the lead lap currently are going to be able to make it on gas, other than guys like London and Facepuncher and company, who pitted right before that last caution. But this is going to get really interesting, I promise you that, as Kyle Matthews is using James Qualls as sort of a drafting pick, but that actually helps for Pichu London to get to the back bumper of Kyle Matthews. So this is the battle for the lead right now. But Matthews going to try and go to the bottom to get underneath of those 2 lap machines. And now Pichu London got stuck in the middle, but that helped for Scott Roush to take second. At least for now, and oh man, 4 wide. But luckily you can make it work as long as you don't lean. As Dorian Facepuncher now currently takes second. Kyle Matthews still hanging on strong with that lead with about 4.5 laps to go. But if a caution were to come out now, I don't think they'd be able to get back underway. That's going to be the big thing for this race. Kyle Matthews right now has about a 2 to 3 car length lead over Matt McIntyre, who's getting the challenge from William Brock, in which William Brock's actually a lap down, but he's trying to force the issue a little bit. 4 laps to go here at Talladega, less than 4 laps to go, and Kyle Matthews, like I said, trying to look for his first win in a long time. And despite missing 2 races, he's having a solid season. 2 top 10 finishes, currently 24th in points. If he were to somehow win this race, or at least, at the very least, get a great run, he'll spike up pretty much up to the top 20 in points. Right now he has the lap car of William Brock right behind him to keep Matthews at bay away from Chris Dollerton, who's now to second. Less than 3 laps to go here at Talladega. Kyle Matthews still trying to hold off as much as he can. But Chris Dollerton, with help from Pichu London's trying to get a big run, as they're going to get a run underneath William Brock to kind of help them get on up to the 42. But will they have enough time? I think they do have enough time, just as long as they can work together and reel in the 42 and not screw anything up. Although, as I say that, London leaves Dollerton hanging to dry. Two laps to go for Kyle Matthews. Look at this, 4 wide for third, and about 2 of those guys are a lap or so down, or just a lap down. Scott Roush gonna take that spot for himself. Dylan Thoreau having to come into pit road at the end. Tough break for the 6 car. Oh, Scott Roush almost got into the left rear of Pichu London. That could have been a big problem, but they're still working together. In fact, you got 3 Fords working together, although they're going to leave Pichu London hanging. Kyle Matthews still got a bit of a gap as it's 3 wide for second, and the white flag is out. Dylan Young trying to put the pedal to the metal, but it's now going to be 3 wide again with William Brock, who's a lap down, forcing the issue again. Matt McIntyre pushing the 66. Trying to use him as a draft pick to help him get to the 42. Can he get to him in time? And will they get to Sean Galligan in time? Galligan's very slow, only going 169. Will the leaders catch him before the start-finish line? That's going to be the thing. I don't know. They might just at the very end. I don't know. It's going to be close. Matthews still has the spot, and they are catching the 44. Is he going to hold up the leader, or will we get a close finish because of it? Matthews goes to the outside. It is scot-free for the 42. Checkered flag waving. Kyle Matthews wins the Aaron's 499 at Talladega. This has got to be one of the biggest wins of Kyle Matthews in our career, because of the fact he has just ended a long winless drought of about 2 or 3 seasons long. Kyle Matthews finally does it, and he does it at Talladega. But let's look at the rest of the results. Matt McIntyre comes through with a great run in the 2nd position. Dorian Facepuncher, who used a great strategy coming in the pit road and then timely caution came out, was able to stay on the lead lap, come through with a 3rd place run. Highest finishing rookie Scott Roush, in his 2nd start of his career, finishes 4th, and then Pichu London with a great run in 5th. Alex Ferranti with a solid run in the 6th position. Chris Dollerton with a great run in 7th. James McLeod finishes out in 8th. Ashlyn Boyd comes back to get 9th. And Jessica Shelton finishes in 10th. Final car on the lead lap was Phil Parker. Everyone else was a lap down because of pit stops at the end. But they were William Brock, Sean Galligan, Dylan Young, James Qualls, Preston Blord, Emmanuel Hartnett, Matt Haas, Dylan Thoreau, and everyone else was out of the race after all of the mayhem, and they were Jake Baskinger, William Duncan, Paul Minnick, Joshua Sekuli, Tim Fiegel, DJ Curtis, Richard Johnson, Johnny Gardner, Trent Dunham, Dylan Jacobs, Dylan Poteet, Zachary Fitzwater, Rafael LeDuc, Sky Commons, Zach Flickinger, Joshua Collard, Seth Cole, Shane Lake, Dougie Shears, Carson Gum, Charles Sanford, and then Anthony McCreary, Jay Jefferson. Well, that does it for our coverage here today at Talladega Superspeedway. Next week, we go to my favorite track in the schedule, Kansas Speedway, for the Hollywood Casino 400. But until then, here are your results, rookie points and regular points heading into Kansas. And this is Levi McIntyre, signing off.